marked us very sadly, but not only, I think, not only the world of design, but a lot of people that know him just by his car designs. So Marcello Gandini has been one of the greatest car designers of the 60s, the 70s period. It's exactly the time when Bertone design became kind of famous. It's the same time of Giorgetto Giugiaro. So we are talking about the good years of the Italian car design. Thank you, Viraj. Thank you. It's the good time, the good years of the Italian car designs when the Italian design started to become really, really famous. And Gandini becomes very, very famous because of those particular projects on which he works on at Bertone. So here I would like just you know, to remind you some of the great cars and concepts he made during his careers at Bertone. And then also, let's not forget that for many years he worked on his own, freelancing for several companies, working not just on cars but also on truck design, trucks. He worked for Renault in the 80s, 90s, early 80s, 90s, and then he worked also for some other companies, doing a lot of design with the talent he had. So when he was in Bertone, he became very, very famous thanks to the Lamborghini Countach. Everybody knows the Lamborghini Countach. It's a great car that made everybody, made everybody dream. And you can imagine when this concept and then car, because it went into production, came out in the early 70s. I believe it was 74. uh, it was like a car coming from the moon. We are in 1970s. It's the same time when we get the big oil crisis. uh, it's a time where everybody is trying to buy small cars and to save money, trying not to spend too much money. And then this project comes out and is presented at auto shows from Bertone Design, styled and designed by Marcello Gandini with those beautiful butterfly wing doors, and a car is so low on the ground that when you look at it, you say, how the hell do I get in and I get out? And this is a car that goes super fast with this incredible look that is really out of anything at that time. So this is just to make you understand the level of talent and creativity that Marcello Gandini had. I have to tell you that the Lamborghini Countach, when I saw it for the first time, probably is one of the first concepts that made me very passionate about car design. I was very young at that time because I was 11 years old, so I was really young. I didn't know who I was going to be in the future, but the only thing is that I already had some flair for cars. And when I saw the Lamborghini Countach, I told myself, this is the most beautiful car I ever seen in my life. And still today, for me, it remains probably the best concept that ever made by a car designer. Okay, so the Lamborghini Countach becomes, the iconic design that makes of Marcello Gandini one of the most famous young car designers, Italian car designers all over the world. And then just to complete this incredible, chef d'oeuvre, so this work of art, he designs then the Maserati Miura, which is even better more recognized as a classic, uh, contemporary masterpiece in car design, the Lamborghini Miura, and a lot of people try to copy that style. It's the car that I put in the cover of this video, the orange one. The Lamborghini Miura probably it's known more like his. It's really his probably masterpiece because of the type of car, the type of design, the type of details, the sensibility he put in every little things he had to do for this car, and it's really recognizable like one of his best piece of art, in terms of car design. Mr. Viraj, sir, my one eye is weak, so doctor says you don't do car design, but other doctors say that my weak eye can recover. I don't know, Viraj. I'm sorry for you. You probably should wear some glasses. Okay, so now I would like to go through this list of cars. I studied a little bit to make sure that I really knew a little bit the more the best I could about Marcello Gandini, because of course I don't know everything. But let's say that he did the Alfa Romeo Carabo. Then he did the Alfa Romeo Montreal. He did the Lancia Stratos Zero. And then also this one, which is one of my favorite, the Lancia Stratos Rally. He did the Maserati Campsin. He did the Ferrari GTA. He did the Fiat X19. I mean, a lot of people from my generation will remember the X19, which was, in a way, going with a similar style. It was a Fiat 850, so very old car that was not sporty at all, that was transformed into a two-seater by Bertone Design, and Gandini was the designer of this car, and it became a two-seater with a hardtop, convertible, very very nice car. And in California, when I was a student at the art center, I had a colleague, a student, Wally Saba, who is a very good designer. I don't know where he is today, but I'm sure he's doing excellent things in the world of car design, that bought one yellow. So it was a typical Bertone yellow, Abarth yellow from Fiat, and he bought one. So he was coming to school with this car. At that time, I didn't know that Gandini was the designer of that car. So the Fiat X19, which beautiful car. Then the Lamborghini Countach, the Lamborghini Miura, we talked about it, the Lamborghini Urraco, and the Lamborghini Diablo. So, I mean, already with this palmarès of portfolio, you can say that you have in front of you probably the Michelangelo of car design of that time, and still today, because those are all cars, all concept and production cars that still today you can admire, that are admired, that are on which a lot of journalists sometimes write very beautiful articles. So we are talking about things that are really remain like classics, and today they are still, studied as masterpiece of car design, to understand what was really the special thing, that made everybody fall in love with those cars. Then he works at Bertone for 14 years. And after he says, okay, stop, I go and freelance. So in 1979, Marcello Gandini decided to work on his own. And of course, working as a freelancer, he will diversify his clients, and he will work also on other stuff, other things. So, for example, he worked for Renault, the company for which I work. And in the early 80s, he worked for truck division, the LCV division. but also for automobile division. So he is very known for the Magnum truck design, the Magnum, which went into production. But he's also known for the Master restyling, the first Master in 1979. It's a project that Renault made, went into production, a big LCV, and he participated because Renault asked him to work on it, and he participated with his proposal. On internet, you can find all the information, all the photos, about this project. And then he worked on the Super 5, Renault Super 5, La Super 5, which is a restyling of the first Renault 5 that Renault asked Gandini to work on, and then they took its interpretation. Then he worked also on BMW, doing the first 5 Series restyling, for example. So here you can see that this guy, he really covered, he covered from supercars to small cars to truck design, and then lots of other projects that, of course, I don't have here in my list, but working as a freelancer for all those years, he worked also in product design, in train stuff, train design, that mobile transportation design, studies and stuff. So finally, in January of this year, 2024, the Polytechnic University of Turin in Torino gave him an honorary degree, laurea honoris causa, in mechanical engineering, because they're recognizing him, somebody that he gave to the world of car design, being as an Italian, an incredible uh, support and work with what he had, he made. So I'm a little bit under emotions because it's really hard for me to think that Marcello Gandini is not with us anymore. So it's only 2 days ago that he passed away. He was 85 years old. Uh, he he should be remembered not just as a excellent talent, in car design for the Italian design community and in general, but I would like also to say that for me, Marcello Gandini has been also a great example as a human being, because this is somebody. In our world, it's very difficult to find somebody that is humble. Let's say that with great honesty. A lot of people have lots of egos, big egos. I am also into that, so I don't want to say that I don't belong to this category. But at the same time, what I realized, learning, looking, reading, watching videos, interviews, talking to people that know him well, that knew him well. I never had the pleasure to meet him, but is that one of his best characteristics was really to be very humble. Hi, Alan, Augustine, Mr. John. I'm fine, thanks. Today we're talking about Marcello Gandini. So the thing is that when you think all the things he made, all the achievements, all the masterpiece he designed, all the how famous he became, and also in such a short time, about thanks to the work and his talent, and then you see how humble this person was. Here you have a great human lesson, for each one of us, whether we are designers or we do other things, really as human beings. And another thing also, he was very generous, especially with students, with young people, explaining things. I know that he went and visited lots of design schools, engineering universities. going and trying to spread out part of his experience. So a very generous person, humble and generous. And then there is also this fact that there are some people that have that type of education, that type of behavior, that type of standing, in society, that is above all the others. It's superior. And he was one of those. So, incredible person from which you can only learn a lot of things. A true legend, Viraj, you're right. A legend never dies. It's true. In fact, I think that the family is it's crying a big loss, and I understand, and we all lost somebody in the family, in our families, so I can understand that very well. I also lost my father some time ago. But what I want to say is that in reality, it's like we didn't lose him, because he has been a great example for all those generations like mine, that we dreamed to become car designers, looking at his concept, admiring that talent, that creativity, admiring everything came out of those things, those concepts. But there is also another thing, is that because what he did was so important and so well done, just like Sid Mead, I made a video about Sid Mead. Ciao, John, welcome back. Yeah, John said he had a huge influence on my career. The Stratos Zero, it's an all-time favorite car. Yeah, yes, I agree. So it's just like Sid Mead, those people that are so extraordinary, they are so nice, they are so cool, and so humble. Because Sid Mead was very humble too. So when you look at those personages, you understand those personages will never die. They will always be with us. So we are living now a very sad moment, as I said, especially for the family, for all the aficionados, for all those that only a few months ago could shake his hand in Torino at the Polytechnic University. There is a great video in which he gives his suggestions, he has his advices to everybody, especially to the young generation, what you should do, what it's wise to do. So that video, you should go and check it out. You will find on YouTube, I'm sure, not just on YouTube. I saw this video on Facebook several times. But people like this, it will leave a part of them that will get into the blood of other people, So when we do a side view, I mean, John, probably for you is the same. When you do a side view of a small sports car, okay? And you want that aggressive attitude in such a short proportion, and you want to cut the back, you're probably thinking about this one, So, and then you remember that belt line, or that character line, and that comes from that car. It comes from Gandini. So it's not just sketching just a car. It's like sometimes we sketch cars, and I mean, this happens for me, and I say, oh, this section reminds me Giugiaro section, Giugiaro typical section on a side body. Or like when you use certain type of color palette, and you find yourself with a color combination on your illustration, you say, wow, those are the same color that Sid Mead would use. The warm and cool, the light blue, the indigo blue, the orange, yellowish for the strong warm light. Those people, those games, they are in our brains. They will remain in our brains, in our life. And they will be studied in art history books. about car design, about industrial design, architecture, engineering. They will be in those books for next generations to come. And even and today, thanks to technology, if a young kid of 10 years old looks at a Lamborghini Countach, in the street and says, "What the hell is it?" It's gonna be very easy. Goes on YouTube, you will find all the information about that car. Any opening for alias modeler, and I don't know, Alan. You have to check on Instagram. On Instagram, car designers page. Recently, I saw that there are some new openings. Okay, in aviation, few openings in car design. About modeling, not really. But ask around. Okay, so I really wanted to talk a little bit about Marcello Gandini because I had a great admiration for the man. I still have. I think that he gave me personally a lot in terms of car design examples. He has been an example what it means to do a design with being wise and using a lots of creativity. How you balance to be wise and be very creative, which is the most difficult thing to do. But when you are able to do a Lamborghini Countach, then that's the proof that you are able to do it. He changed the course of automotive. Yes, it's true. He changed the course of auto design. Nothing was ever the same after his wedge period. It's true. It's true. Still a lot today. Today, for example, we see a lots of retro design. Retro design, several companies are doing retro design. When you look at that, you think at those sections, at those shapes that come from those models of the mid 70s, until mid 80s, and it's exactly that period where the main actors were him, Giugiaro, Bertone. There was also Pininfarina. That was the time of Leonardo Fioravanti in Pininfarina, doing the Ferraris that were more a mix between wedge design and edge design, and also the first soft surfaces, going a little bit back to the 50s. So it was special. It was a very romantic, era. Marcello Gandini was a main actor in that romantic area. And the sad thing is that today, or in the last, I would say, 20 years, 15 years, we lost that romanticism. We lost that romantic era in the world of car design. Now, I don't know if, John, you agree with me, but at that time there was more like, wow, I am part of. And today I see new generations, they don't feel like they are part of. They feel like, I love this job, I'm doing this job. And sometimes when I look at them, the really young ones, I think that they could even change subject and they would be probably happy the same. I would not be happy doing something different than cars. So I am happy to teach, but it's always the same thing. Okay, so I really wanted to give you a little story about Marcello Gandini, and I did it with joy. I think that, as we said, it will stay with us for a long time, many years, next generations to come, and that's for sure. Yes, it was when I was a design newbie, exactly. So, now, if you have any questions, now it's the time. So please, if you have any questions, you can write down your comments, and I will try to give you an answer. Or if you have any comment about this, if there is a favorite car that Gandini did that you would like to remember why, that would be great. The only thing really that I was very close to meet him, really close, and it didn't happen. Sometimes life is like that. It's a question of time. It's too bad. Even we miss the E-type like design. Exactly. I agree. I agree. The Jaguar E-type. That's a period incredible, incredible. And today nobody's going to try. To I don't want to say to emulate, but to reinterpret that type of softer design, elegant design. It's almost like classic music on wheels. Today is different. How many percentage to become a car designer? But Viraj, you don't have to ask me those things. You are always talking about percentage, grades. To become a car designer, if you want to aspire to that, if you want to if you want to try to be admitted into a car design school, you have to learn how to sketch. And you have to make an entry portfolio. So that will count much more than your grades. And of course, you have to pass your school years with good notes, first for yourself, second for your parents. But the most important thing is sketch, entry portfolio, and then any school will look at your entry portfolio and will decide whether you can be admitted or not to that design school. Mr. Okay. Ciao. Did you watch the film Ferrari? I'm back in Toronto. Yeah, Charlie. That's Charlie. No, I didn't watch the film Ferrari. I'm sorry. Ciao, Wang. Problem with casting knowledge and sketch. Okay, good, dear. Then you are on the right track. You shouldn't be worried. Don't ask me about grades and stuff like that. I honestly I don't know what to answer. Okay, so if you don't have any other question, then I will ask you to meet us here next week, and we will do something else. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed, and see you next week. Have a good weekend. Ciao.